what are some things people should look for? You talked about if you're talking to a counselor on the phone, you need to know that they can understand what it is that you're living with.
Right.
What types of therapy do help with these kids?
Well, I mean, we do family therapy. All of our sessions are family driven. So we're working with the child and the parents together. So I'll meet with the parents and we'll talk about the symptoms and what's going on, and then we'll come up with a strategy. And the strategy is always how to make a connection with the child's true feelings under their behavior. We might do crosstalk. I mean, there's all kinds of strategies therapists that work with these kind of kids, can have up their sleeve. But it all is all about how do you help kids connect to their feelings that's underneath their behavior, empathize with their struggle and what happened to them when they were little. So you get them cognitively and emotionally to connect with their own wound, because if they don't have a buy-in, they don't have a feeling of being safe and connected in some way to the process, they keep pushing
They're not
back
going to go
and
there.
manipulating.
Yeah. So what do you do with the kids that just won't go there? So you're trying all of this work and they will not get vulnerable, and there's nothing that you have tried or done, and the parents are at their end. What can you do?
Well, again,
then?
I go back to the assessment. If a child is coming out in the moderate to severe range of attachment disorder, usually outpatient therapy won't work. For all the years I've been doing this, the most ethical thing I can say to a family is that I cannot help your child give up control because I only see them once or twice a week. And so that just doesn't even touch it. They regroup after the session. When you even tap into some vulnerability, they'll regroup. Okay, I'm not going down that path.
So they
again.
build up
so
even
they build
more
up
defenses.
another defense.
Yeah.
To resist.
So this
that
can actually
vulnerability.
make them worse.
Yes, it can make them worse because a therapist that tapped into a feeling of fear or sadness about letting a mom be in control, that scares them to the point where they're going to figure out another way around that. They're not going to go down that. So they might treat mom really worse after a session than better because mom took them to this therapist that tapped into that vulnerability. So again, it comes on severity. So if a child is not in the disorder range but has attachment or trust issues,
Right.
it's on a lower end,
Right.
then the outpatient work.
So there's
can
been
work.
some trauma and they struggle with trust, but they can get vulnerable here and there.
Right.
Those are the kids that you can work with in outpatient type therapy with their families.
Right.
The ones that are more moderate to severe, you're saying not outpatient. What's the option?
Well, and that's why we have our program designed based out of understanding this, where we have professional treatment families that have been in the shoes of the parents we're working with. And so they're able to...
So these are former parents
Yes.
of reactive disordered
most of them are
children. Okay.
where they've been in their shoes and they've gotten the help and the understanding, so they can become partners in the process of recovery, because these are parents that walk the walk, talk the talk, and understand it. Plus the fact that they're more objective. They don't have a relationship built up where they get triggered about
Right.
the behaviors,
Right.
and they can be more empathic parents.
Right.
Empathic parents with the same containment or control that you would do with a toddler. And kids are able to give up control better in those environments because they can't manipulate and control. They can't give away their conflict to anyone. And so you're able to get to their vulnerability.
So the things that a mother who's been living in this situation for a couple of years or whatever, they're getting so frustrated and angry and scared and all of those type of things. So the child does it, the mom gets triggered, which then kind of re-triggers the child again. When they go to these attachment families, the parents just don't get triggered.
Right.
And so the child can act this way, but the parent doesn't respond.
Right. Well, they're not responding with anger or pushing
Right.
back.
It's
and
not like
things
they ignore
that.
them.
Right.
They respond with compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
What might that look like?
Well, like, for example, a child that uses, foul language, and then mom reacts because she grew up around, you don't ever talk that way. You don't ever swear. You get, then you get hit or your mouth washed, whatever the strategy was there. So they would go in a treatment home and they would pull out the same kind of distancing behaviors to get these treatment parents to back up. So they might say to the mom, "Oh, I hate you, you effing S, whatever, whatever foul language." And then that treatment mom is able to say, "Sounds like you're pretty angry at me. The good news is, sweetheart, you get to spend more time with me to learn how to respect and love a mom. I look forward to it." Now, if you think about that, the child now walks away more confused rather than more angry because they weren't able to make that parent mad. Say, "Go to your room forever,"
Right.
which is a parent will say, "Go to your room or you're grounded for a month." Well, we don't time kids out, we time kids in.
Right.
So when they act out more, they spend more time around a parent because they have to
Right.
learn
Oh,
about
good. You get to come
relationship.
sit by me and read a book. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's paradoxical, a lot of paradoxical kind of parenting because it's not the regular response that these kids are getting in their home environment. So you remove them from that and you're able to, and we already have all the script of the symptoms and what they do, so we're already prepared.